All right. Hello and welcome everybody to the September 2022 Michigan PR Group. I hope everybody had a good summer. And we're all back to, getting the folks back into the library and letting them know everything we have to offer for them. So today is a roundtable meeting. So if somebody has a thought, concern, I'll open the floor. Just feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. All right, since nobody's jumping in, I guess I'll come up with the first question. I was wondering, I know we're in the start of fall, so I'm thinking ahead to winter. I'm wondering, what is everybody thinking to do for Black History Month programming in January and February? Those are the ones I'm currently planning. And all right, doesn't seem to be a popular topic at the moment. That's fine. And feel free, you can chime in via chat or, unmute yourself if you would like, whatever works best for you, depending on where you're at and what you're up to. So have you noticed an uptick of people coming back into the library? I know in Southfield, it's slowly creeping its way up. It's nowhere near where it was pre-pandemic, but at least I think, especially now that school has started, we're getting more folks back in the library. Our group study spaces are very popular, as are our video conference rooms, which individuals can use for Zoom, Zoom, telehealth, and things like that. What has everybody else noticed? Are people coming back in? All right, Matt said they've seen a major decline since summer reading program finished and trying to figure out how to get the people back in. So anyone have any things that have been working lately for them to help get people back in?
We've been doing a reading challenge, like a non-summer reading challenge over here at Grand Ledge. And it's basically just trying to encourage them to read throughout the school year. And we've been noticing that like more kids are coming in and doing it, not just feeling like it's summer reading and then we're done. We're trying to do that to have like incentives throughout the year for them as well, to try to get them to keep coming in and keep doing things. Also, in person is definitely the way to go now. I don't even think that we've done a virtual thing for quite a while at this point. There just seemed to be very little interest in it at first. And then now it's just like, oh, virtual.
And do you have people signing up for the unsummer reading program, reading challenge?
Yeah, we've had several kids and families sign up for it. We're tying it into the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten as well. So it's basically 1,000 books and then all the way up to 4th grade with like individual grade challenges. And 1st grade has like, I can't remember fully right now, but it's like you read 100 books in kindergarten, like 50 books in 1st grade. 3rd grade is 25. 4th grade is like 5, but they're like more novel, bigger books.
Cool. And Cassandra chimed in on the chat from Flat Rock that they've had decent success with in-person events, and they hosted a self-defense class for adults. And that got a lot of interest and for teens, and they're gonna do that, so teen self-defense in the winter. That actually reminds me, I had a self-defense class scheduled for May of 2020. I should go back and pull that back out of the copper. I've been doing that. I've been looking back into what I had scheduled in 2020 and now finally getting back to the ones that should be planned. So got a couple emails out to folks for those.
We've had really good luck with hybrid for a lot of our like younger age book clubs, where we'll have half the participants come in person and then half are participating via Zoom. And then we have this device called an owl, which allows for some dynamic camera work and whatnot for like the in-person people. So it moves between the in-person people so that way the people on Zoom can feel like they're in the room.
That sounds pretty cool. Has everybody else gone back to in-person, or are they going hybrid? You know, we've got, I'd say 90% back in person. We're trying out a few hybrid things to see if we can make it work logistically. And then a couple of our book groups are still on Zoom for the adults.
We're back to in person, but you know, sometimes it's a full house, sometimes it's not. You know, and I think that the entire, not just libraries, but the entire world has reopened back up over the last 2 years. And I think the entire world is trying to do as many fun outdoor and fun summer events as possible. So competition is pretty rough right now for people's attention.
And Kayla at Allegan said they're all back to in-person, as is Matt mentions, they're back to completely in person.
I haven't looked at our stats fully, but I do feel our summer reading program was like the most attended this year that it's been out of even pre-COVID numbers. I don't know if it was just because like the last 2 years it's been light, you know, for people still wary about coming in, but we just felt really busy all the time. It felt like all of our events that we did were like really popular. People were coming out, and we had a finale that was outside. And again, it felt like just like the whole town came down to it and, you know, had a big celebration. So it was awesome. It was tiring. And I don't know for sure if it was true, like best numbers ever, but it definitely was awesome.
That is so cool. It's always nice to feel the entire town is somewhere. And let's see, it looks like Monroe County has resumed all their in-person programming as well. And one thing for us here in Southfield, we are not getting people to come out for our author events. Those have dropped dramatically, but anything music related, we're getting 100+ people, which pre-pandemic we had like 60, 70 coming out too. So they were always well attended, but even better now. Has everybody else found differences in what's attracting people now versus what attracted them in the past?
I was just gonna say, I would really like to hear from a lot of people to see how their programming has switched over the last few years versus like what used to be really popular to what's really popular right now.
I'll jump in. The other thing we're finding that's really popular is craft events, or like something hands-on. We did a photography kind of workshop this past week, and invited, just photographers of just adults. We didn't gear it toward the kids, but to come on a little photo walk with us, and that sold out. And I think we had over 40 people come. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, anything like tactile is drawing people in far more than just a lecture. And I see that crafts have always been popular at VBDL and at the Redford Township District Library here also. So I guess crafts are where it's at for us. So
Crafts are big for us too. The last couple of adult crafts we did filled up almost immediately.
We have take-home craft kits that go like almost instantly back in the children's room too. We do like 20 of those a month, and they're usually gone within a couple of days.
cool. And yeah, and people are jumping in on the chat that crafts are popular, looks like all over the place. We do have one West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Township is keeping one virtual story time going for people that can't attend for accessibility, which is cool that they could do both now. And yeah, there are people saying crafts. Got a staff member saying that they've also had interest in clubs, the anime manga, here's my doggy, book clubs, games. And we just started up a board game, drop-in board game program to try to see if we can go off of that.
I do not have change. Okay. Okay, thank you.
So what else has been popular for programming around the libraries, and how has it changed since in the last couple of years?
When we go off-site, we have a book club that meets at a bar that's very popular. We just did a story time inside of a store, I guess.
Tea shop.
Inside of a tea shop, I'd say. That was very popular. And then coming up, we are going to try to do trivia in a bar, and we're going to try a book club sort of in a community center. So fingers crossed.
I wish you good luck there. And, I think it is a good idea to, we're trying to get as much as possible outside of our building. Even, it's always been a push, but I think now even more so.
I would also say that things that, going back to the clubs thing, anything that has been recurring has at least been popular, whether that is a Pokemon group or a book club or a film club or a yoga class or a new RPG group.
Yeah, we did have a really good turnout for our first meeting with our RPG group last week.
But like the one-off experiments we're trying with like authors and presenters, these one-offs aren't popping. So that's a bummer.
Wonder if we got to bring it, pull kind of those two together and try to like do an author series, like once the first, whatever of every month is an author, and see if you can get people drawn in that way because you can't do a regular reoccurring author, but author series maybe.
I've noticed over the last few years, there's been a real shift from the focus of libraries being purely, books and media like that to being just like more of a community center, especially when we're implementing like crafts and musical events and a lot more like community events like, like book clubs have always been a thing, but like tabletop gaming nights or video game things. So maybe that's why there's kind of like a shift now between people not coming into the library for author events just because they see more value coming in for something that's like a tangible event. I don't know, maybe just an observation.
Very well could be. And then in the chat, the DH libraries, they've gone back to in-person and they've seen an increase in their usage, which is great. And Matt's saying that they're thinking of having a book/movie club. We read the book and then watch the movie. There are lots of great options for that. And Ferndale saying to go for it, Matt, that they tried it, but eventually it morphed into a film club free, just a book connection, but it was more popular. So just getting people to connect with those books. So but that's also good that you take a program and you see how it goes and morph with it and go with what people want. So, all right. Mary's got a great question in the chat here. She says, changing topics, which is a good time to do this. Is anybody going to LMCC this year? That's a library marketing conference.
That sounds like a hard no.
Yeah, I think Mary, you might have to tell us how it is.
Okay, yeah, no problem. This will be the first time I will have the opportunity to go. It's in Indianapolis this year, and I figured, well, it's so close because I think they're usually in either Texas or Missouri.
Oh,
So yeah, this time it's super close. So I'll go and I will take notes for everyone. And I'll come back and I can let you guys know what's what then.
thank you. I know I was actually in Indianapolis Labor Day weekend and they have the coolest thing. They have a awesome children's museum, and in the children's museum, like just slightly in the building, but not, you don't have to pay the admission. They had a library branch in there. And I'm like, okay, if I ever move, this is where I want to work.
Yeah, that's really cool.
To be completely honest, I forgot it was a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
Mhm.
definitely pricey. I think it's $475. Yeah, I know. Stephanie, I saw that look.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pricey. And I know for a lot of like when I was working in libraries, I was not ever able to go. But now that I'm with MCLS, it's a thing. So, you know, because I don't know remember if I've been to a meeting here since I got the new job. I don't know if I have or not, but you know, I'm still going to come to these meetings. You know, because part of it too is MCLS is going to want to have me provide, you know, marketing assistance to people. So I will continue coming to these meetings and find out if there's any way that I can help people like with vendor stuff. If you know, there's going to be opportunities for me to come up with new programs for marketing to help people. So I will continue to come to these, and you know, if anybody has any needs, you know, let me know.
We most certainly will. And then Adam mentioned that he's not going, but some other staff members from the Library of Michigan are going. So you'll have some other Michiganders there with you. So who else has something else they want to toss out to the group?
So I recently-ish took over our library's teen Instagram account, and I was just wondering if anyone had any fun kind of ideas for things to put up on there. So far, our biggest hit has just been me telling a terrible joke every week. But I want to expand the good content past a laugh.
I was gonna say, probably our biggest Instagram hit is just a little short video of just running over the new bookshelf and, you know, popping some face out to pop in front of the camera and just sort of a teaser. not a book talk, not talking them up, but just showing the covers of them has worked pretty well for us.
I know Instagram is very much favoring videos and reels these days, and trying to get away from doing the photos. So if you can do more videos, if that's possible for you, I highly recommend it. I say as I do no videos myself.
And Kayla mentions that she always loves a good book face Friday. And Cassandra mentioned they've had success reposting their TikToks to Instagram than they have just posting up original images. And VBDL is just starting up their Instagram, and they're hoping to have a series of different people in the jobs in the library. Oh, that's a great idea. So, and Sharon's got a question for the group of what kind of equipment works best for making those videos. Sandra says, yep, her cell phone, and yep, somebody else just uses the cell phone. And I admit that's what I use. I know I look at some ones that are professionally edited and I'm like, that's nice, but I just don't have the time. If I have time to do video, it's just to toss it up there and not make it no polish. And Mary's asking, how is TikTok working for libraries? And Cassandra, I'll just join in with Cassandra's one before going back to TikTok, is that Cassandra said they invested in a decent tripod and a ring light for it, though, to go with the cell phone. And I know if you're interested in TikTok, I know there is a group, they just met yesterday, and unfortunately I meant to join in and got caught up in something else. They have a social media roundtable. It's led by Katie Rothley and Natalie Mohair, and they do a wonderful job. So I think theirs is the third Monday of every month. So they're a day before us. But I know they specifically got started about TikTok and have kind of expanded. I know I just kind of forget about TikTok. I need to do it more and just pop out the phone and just grab a little, mini section of the library. But when I have done it, which has only been a handful of times, I've gotten, a nice number of likes. Now, most of those are from former staff members, but still. And Sharon says that's what she uses too, and glad to know she's not behind. Yeah, we're all just low tech with our phones, I guess.
I know realistically, like TikTok kind of is the future, but it seems like such a time investment to be able to build content for it that like people age-wise that are using TikTok would actually engage with and watch. And I feel like there's just like a code that needs to be cracked, because like some videos are like not that great, but they get huge views, and then, vice versa. And it's just like for my personal business, even doing videos like every once in a while for that, I'm like, what is the magic here? Like, why is this stupid thing that I posted, getting tons of views, and then like a serious thing is not getting anything? Well, like serious,
Well, Matt's got a cool idea that we could all replicate too. He's got a couple of National Honor Society students who are looking for volunteer hours. So they are going to create TikTok videos for the library. So that's cool. I get the teens to make videos for the teens. So, because they're going to look at it differently than us old fogies do. So. And Killian mentioned she was in the social media roundtable yesterday, and that most of the libraries that do use TikTok are also reposting them across platforms. So they use it for, beyond just TikTok, which makes sense, because I know they say to make things original for each platform, but who has the time to really do that?
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile. I think that's a good point by Killian. if you want TikTok to be worthwhile, you could think of it as it will provide content for multiple platforms. I think that I just am able to find more options for sounds on TikTok than I am on Instagram Reels. I find TikTok's editing to be easier than Instagram Reels. So I say go for it. And then you will give yourself content for your Reels on Instagram. It is a bit of a time suck, and it is completely chaotic as far as what goes viral and what doesn't. And you have to have a certain constitution, because TikTok is very intense and might be overstimulating, might make you lose track of time, might tick up your anxiety. I don't even know, but eventually you have to just immerse yourself and look at what other libraries are doing to get that kind of inspiration. You see what kinds of sounds they're using, you see how they're creating visual memes. And hopefully you eventually get the hang of it.
Well, you are my TikTok gold to aspire to, Jeff. I love your TikTok videos, and they're very very Ferndale, and you got your own original voice going. I love it.
Thank you. But you all can eventually. But I don't spend 4 hours a day on TikTok. It was like 15 minutes a day. I was letting myself go down a rabbit hole, and then disciplining, putting the phone down and saying, okay, time to get back to work.
It is definitely, you can follow. That's why I no longer do our library's Pinterest account, because I start off doing Pinterest and then look up and it's 3 hours later and like, oop, okay, I don't have the self-control for that one. But Kayla gave us a good tip that we should check out Fowlerville's TikTok, and especially their 1-star review Guess Who's are really cool. So I will definitely be adding Fowlerville Library to my TikTok feed. Who else do we love to follow then? I know I follow Ferndale, and now I'm going to follow Fowlerville. Who else has good TikToks? Or just social media in general?
I like what I'm seeing from Brighton. I like what I'm seeing from Troy. I'm seeing lots of libraries just really starting to up their game. What else is on? Chelsea.
And Columbus Library is getting a thumbs up. Check them out.
I have a question. What's everybody doing for banned book week this week?
Oh, great question. And has anybody gotten pushback from their banned book stuff? In Southfield, we've got our displays up of banned books in youth, teen, and an adult. And knock on wood, have gotten no pushback from it other than, like this was banned, But that's the point of it, not the. So what's everybody else doing?
We also have youth, teen, and adult displays up. We're trying to go more from less of a, oh, these are banned, and more of these, this is your intellectual freedom right to read these books kind of a standpoint with it. And we've also been counting down on our Instagram, the top 10 most challenged books of last year.
Yeah. We put a couple articles in our print newsletter too about it as well, and we just did a podcast episode about it. But no pushback.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
And Sharon mentioned that they ordered banned book week pins from Etsy and I've been giving them out with checkouts, and lots of good comments coming back from that. That's a cool idea. And Cassandra mentioned, oh, they've got a good idea. They've combined it with voter registration. So right to vote, right to read. And they have 2 voter registration stations and a right to read display where they can learn about banned books and win a bracelet. That's a great idea to combine the 2 of those.
Do we have anybody on here right now that's from the west side of the state, specifically over towards the Grand Rapids area where they had the one library that was experiencing those issues with the banned book? I think it was genderqueer.
So my parents actually live just down the road from there, in Hudsonville. So I used to work over in that neck of the woods. I'm from Zealand, so it's an interesting part of the state. So, I know they're trying because, you know, they're re-putting it back on the millage vote for in November, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know. Do you have any specific questions related to it? I will also point out too that I just saw this on Bridge, Michigan, that there was an article related to a lot of those same topics because it's become a very big thing at the State Board of Education meetings. So luckily people have, I guess for our sake at the Library of Michigan, they've been directing their attention to the state board and not us specifically across the street. So yeah, but it's going to be an interesting few months. We'll put it that way.
I guess my question was just how that part of the state is kind of responding to Banned Books Week, is responding to all the controversy that's happening over in that area, how they're banding together in support of you know, all that stuff.
That I don't know. The one thing I will say is that there has been a very concerted effort by several people, especially in Ottawa County, in pushing back against a lot of these things. If you're familiar with the Ottawa Impact Group, they're the ones who got a lot of people on the County Board of Commission in Ottawa County. And so Jamestown's in Ottawa County. So my guess is that that's also part of that sort of component of everything that's going on there. I haven't talked with my parents in the last few weeks, and granted they go to the Hudsonville Library and not the one in Jamestown, but I'm sure they've heard quite a bit in some of the local community, you know, Facebook postings and different stuff like that. So if I hear anything more, I'll see if I can swing back the next time we have this meeting. But yeah, we'll see.
And it looks like there are a couple of people from the others from that area too. Kayla mentioned she just moved from Coopersville and that they've had some interesting comments on their Facebook page. At one high school, they've got 3 book challenges going on. And yeah, and somebody mentioned, yeah, the Dearborn Public Schools has removed, I believe it was it 7 books? And even more, they removed Sora because of access to that, because of a couple books that were, you know, deemed whatever there. Which is scary that they took it all. Dearborn they took that all away instead of just following the challenge process. So, but does anyone else want to jump in of what they're seeing over on, you know, about banned books, especially on the west side of the state? And Adam, thank you for sharing all these links here. If you haven't seen it, Adam put a bunch of links to articles and groups in the chat. And Matt mentioned that Loudoun and Grand Haven has doubled down and set up a ton of banned book displays.
I guess it's good that nobody's really saying that they're having many issues. I was kind of worried about that with everything else going on in the world right now, that a lot more libraries were gonna say, oh, we kind of pulled back on our displays this year because of, this, that, and the other thing. We just don't want to have the controversy in the library.
I mean, I know banned book is the, annual, but this, this year is far more, relevant and in the news. And I mean, I think I've read ALA as, triple the amount of normal challenges, and that might be on the low end. It might be far higher than that. So is anyone else doing anything cool for banned book? Oh, Krista just mentioned that LeVar Burton from yeah, I love LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow, has some great resources on his Twitter, and he's been speaking up on behalf of banned books. So this is the time, hopefully, to get, some national attention to it. And Sharon has a question for the group of how has social media fared in light of these challenges? Have there been challenges to that kind of content? And I'll say in Southfield, we've had nothing but supportive comments on our posts about banned books.
Well, tone is everything. You just have to be careful when you're making any kind of a post. You don't want to come off with a provocative tone that will be interpreted by anyone out there as sort of a picking a fight or come and get us, or I don't know. It's a tricky line to toe.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as it's stated factually and just presented that way and not swinging one way or another, then it shouldn't have any problem.
And then Kayla's got a good question. If anybody has a link for the social media roundtable group, I know if anyone doesn't give it to you, if we don't get it right now, I can get it when the meeting's ended. I know it's in my email. I believe they come across on Mish Bell. They posted up there. And then Sharon has she said, for instance, why are books the focus and not other types of media? I guess that's fundamental to the motivations of the challengers. I know we haven't had any pushback on our, oh, and we shared, okay, great, thank you for those that are sharing the link and the agendas for the social media roundtables in the chat. But yeah, I haven't seen any pushback on like DVDs or other kind of media, or even beyond what's happening in Dearborn, the electronic books or anything from the digital libraries? Has anybody else seen pushback on things that aren't books in the libraries?
I think generally here at Grand Ledge, the person that orders the DVDs and the Blu-rays does a really good job of going through the collection to make sure nothing's like too offensive. And I think we have an age rating on, like we can't have like NC 17 things on the shelves or stuff like that. And the rated R things are generally like not too overtly gory or sexual or something like that. I think it's just easier to kind of what's the word? I guess not censor, but you know, like make sure that those things are not on the shelves as they would be at like a Blockbuster, you know, like they exist anymore, but you know what I mean. But we want to make sure like the books that people do want to read, they're more accessible than like maybe a movie.
Yeah. And a couple of people have chimed in, Stephanie, same as you, that since the movies have the ratings and music can have that, you know, the parental warning sticker on it, you know, people are less likely to complain about it since there's more delineation on it. I'm glad to hear there isn't too much, you know, that it's not, although they, you know, there's certainly far more book challenges out there than there have been in the past. At least it's not completely widespread. It's not hitting every library, although I give credit and to all those that are being hit with book challenges, because I know that, you know, even if you've got everything in place, all your policies and admin behind you, it's still a time suck.
Kelly, are we still considering or still doing, I know it's been a while since I've been here, but you know, group member led sessions? Are we still doing those?
If any group member has an idea or wants to lead a session, I am all for it.
Because
And,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Mary.
No, I was just gonna say, because I know next month, the rep from
Yeah.
Mango Languages is coming.
Yeah,
She had reached out to me because, you know, MCLS does group purchasing, you know, for our members, and Mango Languages is one of them, one of the vendors. So are there any other vendors that you're interested in hearing from to get more, or to have me get information for you, like social media posts, or, hey, I really wish that there was a page for, you know, marketing materials, because I know Mango Languages does have one, but you have to have, they don't advertise it anywhere. So it's not like you can go to the Mango Languages page. You kind of have to know what the URL is.
Oh.
So that might be the case with, as I'm learning, other vendors as well. And I remember, you know, when I was in public libraries, that was such a difficult thing for me, because I felt like I was always going to Google and trying to rip logos and trying not to take, you know, double checking that I'm not taking one that is actually a graphic that another library created. So, you know, if there's anything like that, can it be in Creative Bug? Okay.
And I'd end in Learning Express Library and Job and Career Accelerator.
Learning Express. Hold on, I'm trying to write these down. Okay, so Learning Express Library. And what was the other one, Kelly?
Job and Career Accelerator. There, it's the same company owns the both of those.
Okay.
And then we have a second for Canopy.
Okay.
And I say my big thing to vendors is always when they write up wording, they write it for librarians. I want to have wording that I can take from them that's written toward patrons. That
Agreed.
has no jargon.
Right. Right.
I don't care, patrons don't care about the jargon. I get why they
Yeah.
write that up, and has its valid point and market audience, but I also want to see marketing material for patrons, not for libraries.
Yesterday, with our group purchasing manager, we met with ProQuest. And I think that's landing pages and stuff like that was discussed. So there might be some interesting things coming down the pike. Does everybody here know? I mean, do you all, when I say MCLS, do you know what I'm talking about? Because I remember when I was when I was working in the library, I think I knew what it was, but until I started working here, I did not realize all of the things that MCLS actually does. Like Mel, the talk program is now, once the grant is done, MCLS is going to be taking that over. So, I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that I didn't realize was a thing with MCLS. So I guess I'm just kind of curious what people know. Like all of the listservs are run by MCLS. I had no idea that was MCLS. And I'm hoping that everyone here is a member of the Michigan PR listserv. If not, I don't know, Kelly, do you have that link that you can throw in for people?
Unfortunately, when I'm recording Zoom, I can't minimize it to grab my
Gotcha.
link,
Okay,
but I can send that out later, so.
yeah. Because I know you've been posting or,
Yeah.
sending things on that, and it'd be good for everybody to have that information.
I have to say, I mean, I'm sure I know some of the things MCLS does, but I am sure I don't know everything, and
Okay. I will take note.
Mary,
Yeah,
I thought I pushed a button. Sorry. So with what you're doing with MCLS, so when you are you like talking with these vendors to kind of like bridge some gaps between like services or communications or anything like that? Or are you just trying to get those services for MCLS to be able to provide to libraries?
okay. I've been here since July 11th. This was a brand new position that it had never existed before. So one of the things that we're just starting to work on is how I can talk to some vendors specifically about marketing the services. And I look at it from the lens of, I was, public library marketing person for 14 years. So that's what I want to try to get is more information that you all can just use, that you don't have to go digging around for stuff. Yeah. So I'm assuming that a lot of this stuff is probably going to be just for our membership. Some of it may not be. I still have to learn how that group purchasing, that relationship goes, and then how I, as the new marketer, can fit into that. So it's a work in progress, but for me to get all of this information from you, what are your needs? What are your wants? Where do you feel like I can help you? And then try to get that information for you. If that
I would
makes sense.
definitely, yeah, definitely. I would definitely say that if you are in communication with those kind of vendors, like having them have the marketing tools to be more accessible, more patron friendly, not librarian friendly.
Right.
And just having more variety and quality of posts that are actually for social media in the correct sizes, like square posts for Facebook and Instagram, and
Right.
like correct sizes for things. That's the biggest thing, because I know I personally feel, and I'm sure many of you do too, that like, even though you have the material from them, you still end up spending time correcting the ads, putting, new text into them,
Oh,
this,
right.
that, and the other thing. And that's just like, I could have just made this by myself and just went to a stock image site and just
Right.
did this at the same amount of time. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I'm trying to think. The other thing too is, you know, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with formatting as well. Like maybe does everybody here use Canva? No. Okay.
No, I
Um,
use Photoshop for most of my stuff and
Okay.
Library Aware.
okay.
A bunch of people a bunch of people are
Okay.
hopping on chat that they do.
Yeah,
use Canva.
Yeah. Well, here's a question then for because I'm sure other than Stephanie so far, most people do use Canva. Who does not? Maybe who else does not? That might be helpful. So we're looking at Library Aware. And you said Photoshop. Is that what you said? You were using Photoshop? Okay. Anybody else not use Canva? Okay. All right. So, all right. Sorry, I'm thinking and writing and my mouth was opening all at the same time. Okay, so correct sizes. Perfect. This helps.
Yeah. I'd also chime in addition to all that, having a space on theirs that you can plop your own logo into. So you could add the library logo up on there. I know Gail has that for some of their marketing, and that's so helpful. So you can cross market it both with theirs and your own library.
Oh goodness, if you get in touch with Gail, please have them upgrade their social media stuff, please.
Okay. Well, maybe one of the things I'm just talking out loud. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but maybe one of the things that I can do is maybe like we were having Mango Languages come. Maybe I can look at trying to get more of these companies in touch with this group to come do presentations. Let's see if I can make some connections.
That'd be great.
So I'm going to throw my email address in the chat. And if there are any specific vendors, and then if MCLS actually does have contact with those particular vendors, I can make a list of people to get in touch with. So
I would like to see LinkedIn Learning, which used to be Linda. I would like to see that be more affordable for more libraries to use, because right now it seems like just the really high patronage libraries are able to afford that. And it's really not accessible for smaller libraries. I don't know anything about like the class, the class size systems. But if you are in touch with LinkedIn Learning, Lydia, that would be definitely something I would love to see. I've been pushing for it for a while, but unfortunately their fees are just not something that we can afford.
okay, I'll pass that on to group purchasing.
Well, thank you, everybody. And just as a reminder, our next meeting in October, we will have Malika from Mango Languages come, and they have, if you haven't used it, they are a fun program. They even had yesterday, we did some promotion of them for Talk Like a Pirate Day. And so that one's coming up on October the 18th at 10 a.m. on Zoom again. But before we conclude for the day, does anyone else have anything else they want to share? All right, I don't hear anything, so I'll say thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for all the great discussion. I always get such great ideas. Thank for everybody for participating, and we'll see everybody in October.
Thanks, Kelly. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.